Hi, Zanzibar here to show you how to make a sewing machine in World of Warcraft Player housing. I wanted to make a sewing machine. It's an essential item for any tailorer or even cosplayer like myself. So I wanted to make one in the game for like a crafting room. So I'm here to show you how to make it, what items to use, what to do with them. It's already built, so I'm just gonna like take it apart and show you what to do with what item. So this costs, in its current construction that you can see right here, it costs 57 decor budget. So it's not a whole lot. However, depending on your server, it can cost anywhere from 10 to 15k to build it, because a few of the items you have to buy or you can craft them. And then it won't cost you anything but your time. So these are the Silver Moon beam platform. They're from the housing vendor. They cost 3 decor. And I have it sitting here, and it is scaled to 33%. And I turned it 90 degrees and I just slid it into place. That's what it started off. I recommend that you pick a table that this stuff can clip into, because I kind of have something showing here. I use the Calderai desk. This is from Legion. I recommend this desk. This is a really good desk. There's another one of these that has like herbs all over it. That's great for the kitchen. So that's my chosen desk. So I slid it on into place. That's what I started off with. Then I took another Silver Moon beam platform and I scaled this to 30%, slightly smaller than the base, and I clipped it into place. You can see that it kind of shows on the bottom, but you know, I'm not too worried about that. So I got it there. Then I got my final one up here. It is set to 20%, and it also just slid into place. Didn't really mess with it, just made it smaller, put it up there. So then for this is like the extended part. Some sewing machines don't have this, but mine has it in real life. So it is a sturdy wooden bench. It's from the housing vendor. I dyed it bone white, and I just scaled it to 50%. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, and I just slid it on into place, adjusted it just a little bit so it didn't stick out. And there, you know, now you got your extendo thing. The next thing we got is this part. I needed something round for the end of the sewing machine. You necessarily don't need this, but it looked quite nice. So these are lovely elven shelves. I have 2 of them. They are from the housing vendors. I have them set to 350% angle, and that's just about it. I mean, I scaled it to 20%. I just slid it over place. Then I need a second one, because if you didn't have a second one, it kind of looks like that. So I use another one, same thing, angled it about 350, also 20. And I slid it on into itself. So it looks like that. So we'll move that out of the way for the time being. So the construction of this inner area, I needed a lamp. I needed a light, because every sewing machine, you need a light. You gotta see what you're doing. So I just took a elegant table lamp from the housing vendors and just made it really small, 30%, and put it in here so that, as you can see, I'm making my light for my work. And then I have this as like my needle. It is a Venthyr Anima bottle. I just turned it upside down and I made it 20%, and I slid it into place. And then, you know, just kind of hide it. I'll put this back there. Next, I have the thread, because you need a thread, and it is a pair of garden wheeled hanging baskets. They are from Crafted Shadowlands. I just scaled it to 20% and just, you know, put them in place, you know, until it looked like a thread going on. So that's what I got going on for the thread. Next, I have the feet down here. There's 3 items. They're all the same item. And then there's the thread. So for this part of the foot, I have a mug. This is from Draenor Garrison. It's from a vendor. I use these as the feet. They are scaled to 20%, and I just turned them sideways and clipped them into the ground like that. And then there's another one. This is the same thing, clipped into the ground. And then there's one in the back here. Another mug, except I didn't use the handle. I used the corner. So this is at 20%, and then I scaled it at like 90%, and I just scaled it until this was flat. And then I clip it into the ground, you know, slide into place. And yeah, you got your foot right there. And then I wanted a thread to look like I was starting a project. So I got my thread here, and it is ornamental Caldori glaive. It's from the Night Elf Heritage quest line, I'm pretty sure. So you have to be a Night Elf to get this. Turned it upside down, and I scaled it to 30%. You can make it smaller. And then I just flipped it down in there, adjusted a little bit, and it looks like I'm starting a project. I think it's quite cute. I like this detail. Then we got the base right here, and this is a carved wooden crate. This is from the housing vendor. I dyed the sides white, and then I just clipped it down. It's set to 20%, and you can make it bigger. So like the border is a little bit bigger, but you can do whatever you want. So I clip it down in there. It just looks like the border of the sewing thing. The screen is also a crate, scaled to 20% and clipped in there. And then you can, if you want, just leave that visible, so it kind of looks like a pattern. You're like, oh, I want to make this pattern on my automatic embroidery part of this. So you can do that, or you can clip it in like me. And then I just dyed the edges obsidian black. You can choose any color. So then we'll go to the buttons. The buttons are these. Elegant carved bench. They're from the housing vendor. I have 4 of these in total. I clip them down. I use the top of each of these benches. So you put them to, let's see, 20%, and you turn them 90 degrees, and you just push them on in there. So we got that one. The same thing going on right here. And then just repeat the process for the other 2. And then I just dyed them black. We are going to go to the top. This is the bobbin spot where you would put your thread. And I have a open elegant elven barrel from the housing vendors. I dyed it white. The 2 dye channels are both bone white. And I scaled it to 20%. And I just clipped it down in there. So it looks like that. And then for this like post right here, it is the Dalaran post. It's crafting. It's from Northrend or Wrath of the Lich King expansion. And I scaled this to 20%, turned it upside down, and stuck it in there. And you can adjust it up and down, whatever you would like. This is the final item. It's the threads. I think it's thread width. I don't know. On my sewing machine, this is here. So it's another wooden mug. It's another handle. It's turned 90 degrees and it's scaled to 40%. And I just put this in there. Sorry, that was not the final thing. We have one more thing here. We have you would turn this and it messes with the thread that would run to the machine. So it's another wooden barrel. I dyed this part bone white. I just scaled to 30%. I turned it sideways and I just flip it on in there. So there's a few things you can add. First, let's say you want an older machine that typically have more of these like buttons. So you can take these elegant table lamps and you can just place it here. The problem is it creates light. So you can put it here so it kind of looks like there's another thread knob. Or you can take another one and put it here. And you can also turn it sideways, 180 degrees, and put more, more buttons here. You would, if you don't want a modern computerized machine. Oh, That's what I got going on there. Okay, and then one more essential part of the sewing machine that you can't forget, which I forgot, which is this. The foot press. You can't operate it without the foot press. So the foot press is a silver moon platform beam. I scaled it to 40% and I turned it to about 75 degrees. And then I just clipped it on down into the ground. There we go. That's my foot press. But, you know, you can't operate a foot press without a cord. Technically, I need 2 of these, power and then 1 to connect to the machine. But I only got 1. So this one item is this Valdraken chandelier. This comes from, there's a panda guy in like Stormwind. And he offers a quest every week, and he has exclusive decor. You just go and get an item for him, and then you bring it to him, and then you have that item unlocked. And you can just buy it from him for whatever appropriate resource an expansion is from. I scaled this to 40%, and I turned it at a variety of angles. We got 40%, 160%, 40. Oh, wait, that's 300. This one doesn't matter. What matters is this one. You want that one. So I took this and I clipped it into the wall. Like so. There we go. Looks like a power cord. So I haven't quite checked, but if you try and clip it into the wall and it just like gets mad and turned red and readjusts itself, you might have to make a fake wall. I have a fake wall going on so I can clip stuff in. But you don't have to, or you could just make it smaller. But yeah, that's an essential part of the sewing machine. So a few more things that you can add if you want. Let's say you want like a thread up here. I haven't quite found something that's good thread, but I did find this rolled scarab rug. This is from Cataclysm Crafting, and I just put it there. It's something. And then if you want a thread running, there's not a lot of good options. So I found this Kilnean pitchfork, which is crafting, and I scaled it to 39%. I just messed with the rotating a little bit so that it will not show up when I clip it in. So, and I just slide it over and it, you know, kind of looks like there's a thread going on. Just maybe ever so slightly. Yeah, I kind of like it. It kind of looks like there's a thread. Yeah, that's the sewing machine. And then I have my crafting project started. So I'm sewing myself some banners for my Warhammer room. I'm learning. I got some hand stitching. That's my tutorial for the sewing machine. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you like it, let me know. And I'd love to know your thoughts on it. And maybe like and subscribe my video. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for my sewing machine. Goodbye.